Welcome into the In the Money podcast for Saturday, June the 6th. Tom Leach, along with Keeneland's Director of Wagering Development, Jim Goodman, talking about the Pick 4 at Penn National, culminating with the Grade 2 Penn Mile. But this is an all-stakes Pick 4, so we'll jump right into the 6th race, Jim, and talk about the Penn Ladies Dash, 5 furlongs on the turf. And you've got a couple of horses that were entered Preakness weekend and scratched. You got Morticia, who ran here at Keeneland last couple of meets. Where did you land in this one?
I landed on Morticia. I thought that she should go favored off that 5-for-8 record in turf sprints and those two stellar efforts at Keeneland and Churchill Downs. I mean, she only lost at Triple Chelsea. That's certainly no, and Lady Aurelia at Keeneland. So that's certainly no disgrace, and they're not in this field. So I think Morticia is going to be the favorite here. I think Just Talking, the 8-horse, is the only other entrant that's competitive at all in the buyer figures. Just Talking gets Arad Ortiz, was extremely effective at Gulfstream this winter with a second, a third, and a blowout victory in the last race at 62,000 optional claiming. So she was 1-2 that day, so she's making a big step up in class here, but I think she's got a shot. So when we talk about the Pick 4, I think I'm going to go with just those two horses in here. There is a horse, though, that did scratch out Preakness Day that I think you liked that day, Booze,
yep.
The French horse for Manny Franco and Alan Goldberg. And this horse we thought had a shot on Preakness Day, and, of course, when it was taken off the turf, she was scratched. So I would assume that she's going to be ready for this race as well as she was for the Preakness race. So I think you can throw her in the mix as well. Her buyers do not match up with the top two, but she's only had 3 races in North America, so she has a chance to move up a little bit. She's been off since September, so maybe she's going to come back ready to run. She's 10-1, nice little price on Booze, but I'm going to go with Morticia here on top of Just Talking.
Yeah, I'm right with you. Your analysis is just like mine. Morticia is my pick. Even though she hadn't won the last 2, you look at numbers, she's in lifetime best form. And I will use Booze on my Pick 4 ticket just because of the respect to Alan Goldberg. I think he's a sharp trainer, and there is a little chance this horse could have a little upside left. So I'll use all 3 of those when we get to the Pick 4. 7th race is the Penn Oaks at a mile on the turf. The Way I Am looks awfully good in here, but I am going to try to beat her with Got Stormy, the 2-horse. Steadily improved for Cassie, and that was a loaded field in that Grade 3 at Churchill on Oaks Day. And so this is, I think, a softer spot, even as good as The Way I Am is. So I'm going to use those 2 when I get to the Pick 4, but I'm going to try to upset the favorite with Got Stormy, The Way I Am. If you want to go deeper within the race and play some exactas and things, Treasuring the 5 and the 6, Good Things Take Time, I thought could certainly hit the board, but I think The Way I Am is going to be hard to beat. I'm going to try to beat her with Got Stormy. How about you?
She's my top pick. The couple entry looks tough here. The Way I Am, I think the thread that runs through this race is Rushing Fall. And if you look at the comparison of how they did against Rushing Fall, she ran behind her at Keeneland, The Way I Am I'm talking about. Classy Dancer has proven speed, could set the table for her entry, so it looks like to me that even though they probably didn't plan it that way, Graham Motion has a speed horse and a closer in The Way I Am. Got Stormy has a shot, and I think Things Take Time has a shot. They were also competitive with Rushing Fall, and Good Things Take Time. It's hard to say, but in the Appalachian, she was pretty much out of it, and she closed within 2.5. Nothing to be ashamed of, getting beat by the best 3-year-old filly on turf in the country. So I think Good Things Take Time has a shot at 3-1. May go off even a little bit better than that. So I'm going to use 3 in the Pick 4, but the entry is my choice here. I think that's the logical choice.
8th race is the Pennsylvania Governor's Cup, and this is the boys going 5 furlongs on the turf. Ben's Cat has run in this race the last few years. I thought this was really wide open. Where did you land?
Yeah, I did too. I thought pure sensation if he hadn't drawn the outside post. The back class out here has handled the wide post before. He's won a couple races from outside, but last 4 races have not been up to what he was last year. So I'm gonna use him in the Pick 4. I'm gonna try to beat him with the 3-horse Oak Bluff. Oak Bluff for Mary Epler, not a really named trainer, but she's 20% trainer. And this horse on Preakness Day didn't run bad in the turf sprint, and if you go back in his form, he's 15 for 41 lifetime, and had a win back at Gulfstream and did well in the winter at Gulfstream. And I think Paco Lopez probably gets this horse out of the gate well, and I think Oak Bluffs has a shot to knock off the favorite here, Pure Sensation. The other horse that I like is Ray's Warrior, the 10 horse for Jason Service. Ray's Warrior went off at 6-1 last time out at Gulfstream and just dominated the field wire to wire. And looks like he's getting the best of his life. And Jason Service takes over from Rudy Rodriguez. That's a good trainer going to a good trainer. So I think may be able to get out of the gate here. And Joel Rosario rides at Penn National. That's not very normal. So Ray's Warrior has a shot here, 10-1. So I'm going to go 3 or 4 deep in the pick 4. Pure Sensation would probably be a lukewarm choice, but I think Oak Bluffs has a shot, and I think it's a 5-1 morning line. He's a much better price than Pure Sensation is going to be.
Yeah, I liked all 3 of those too, but I ended up picking Dubini in the race. I like that 99 buyer last year on Thanksgiving weekend. If he can get back to that, he has got a big shot. And it's a lightly raced colt, so I think there's still some upside left. I like the workout pattern coming into this race, so I'm going to try for a little bit of a price with Dubini. I'll use Pure Sensation, Oaks Bluff, Ray's Warrior. Pool Winner has some back class that if he can get back to that form, could be in the mix here. And Triple Burner, not a great post, but the 11-hole, I thought that one had a shot. So I'll use all of those in the pick 4. 9th race is the Grade 2 Penn Mile. And I ended up going with Hawkish in here. I thought there were at least 3 that I couldn't separate to any great degree, but thought there might be a little bit more of a price on this horse, who won first time out for Jimmy Toner. He's not a noted guy to win first out, so I thought that was noteworthy. And then 2 starts later, on the 15th of April, this horse posts a 92 buyer, wins impressively, and the runner-up came back to win next time out. By Artie Schiller, so that horse won the Breeders' Cup Mile, so mile should be ideal for this horse. So I'm going to take Hawkish. Therapist I like a lot. Pretty much a toss-up between those 2 for me. Murad, I thought the mile might be a little too short for. But off that race on Derby Day, I don't think he really was all that big a fan of that soft turf, but he sure did run well in the last few strides to get up and win. So I think you got to have him. And then I'm also going to throw Colt and Mississippi in there. Rosario's on this horse for Pletcher. So that was interesting. Rosario comes in to ride this horse. And his race last time was his first try on turf, and it was his best number. Not by a lot, but it still was his best buyer number. And now he gets to stretch out and has the pedigree to do that. So I think that one's one worth considering if your budget will allow it. But Hawkish is going to be the win pick for me. So who do you like in the Penn Mile?
Well, since you're in Lexington and I'm in New Orleans as we're taping this, we didn't talk about this race, but we wound up with the same 4 horses. I thought Therapist was the choice here. He lost to Murad in the Grade 3 Palm Beach, but he's undefeated in his other 4 races. I mean, Murad's the only horse that's beaten him. And that was at a mile and 16. You made a good point about Murad. This might be a little short for him. He's better at a mile and 16. He's a closer. He's got to get that distance, and I don't think he's going to get there at a mile. So I think Therapist is a good bet here, 4 horse on top with Irad Ortiz. I like Hawkish, lots of upside and only the 4th career start. Big step up in last, and I think if he takes another step up, he can be right there. He's got an 84 and a 92 buyer last 2 times, and I think if he gets up to 95 or 96, he can win this. Rosario does travel to ride Colt in Mississippi, the 1 horse for Pletcher. I noticed Rosario had a 10-1 shot in the last race. This one's 8-1, so a lot of value for one of the best jockeys in the country. And, of course, Mirage, you've got to include him. The win at Churchill Downs, the Grade 2 American Turf, was very impressive on Derby Day. He's very consistent, but he needs a fast pace to close into, and I think he needs a mile and 16. So I think Mirage is a good horse to play maybe under in your exotics with the other horses on top. But I'm going to use all 4 of them in pick 4 when we talk about that.
Well, let's get to the pick 4. It starts with the Penn Ladies Dash in the 6th, the all stakes. I'm using 3 in the first leg, 6, 8, and 12. The Penn Oaks, I'm just going to go 2 deep. Got Stormy and The Way I Am and Classy Dancer entry. Then in the Pennsylvania Governor's Cup, I'm going 6 deep. 3, 4, 6, 10, 11, 12, all the ones that I mentioned I'm going to use. And then in the last leg, Hawkish Therapist Maraud, 643. If your budget allows, I would say add the one Colton, Mississippi. But I'll leave it. I'll leave that one off just to keep the budget number I normally try to hit. But I would say if you want to go, if you've got the funds to go a little deeper, consider including that one because you got a good price. Or you could also take booze out of the first leg if you feel stronger about Colton, Mississippi, and go 2 by 2 by 6 by 4. So, but my ticket's going to be 6, 8, 12 with 1, 2 with 3, 4, 6, 10, 11, 12 with 3, 4, 6. How about you?
Going to be very similar here. We're either going to hit it twice or not going to hit it all.
Nothing wrong with hitting it twice.
That's right. First leg, I'm going to use the 6 and the 8, Morticia and Just Talking. Second leg, I'm going to use 1, 2, 6, the entry plus Get Stormy and Good Things Take Time. Third leg, 3, 12, Oak Bluffs, Raised Warrior, and Pure Sensation. And the fourth leg, 1, 3, 4, 6, Colton, Mississippi, Maraud, Therapist, and Hawkish. That's a $36 ticket for 6, 8 with 1, 2, 6 with 3, 10, 12 with 1, 3, 4, 6.
Nice card up at Penn National. I think they get started, I want to say 3:45 Eastern on Saturday.
That's right, yes.
So it's kind of in between the afternoon card, kind of halfway through Churchill Belmont, and takes you through the first half or so of Santa Anita probably. So as you're playing those other cards, you can add this one to your mix for some good races on Saturday. And, of course, next week we'll have expanded podcast looking at all those stakes races on the Belmont Stakes Day card. For Jim Goodman, I'm Tom Leach, and this is the End the Money Podcast for KeenelandSelect.com.